All right then, so welcome back to what is now episode 4 of Project Patchwork. This is now the actual start of the PD130 swap in my own car. Previous episode, we wanted to see if it would fit. We tried it into the customer car behind you there. This one, the engine and stuff is going to come out of my car and I'm going to commit, and let's all hope it fits. Part of that committing process is getting a manifold made. Now, as I said before in the last video, probably far too many times, Jordan from Rough Restos, another YouTube channel, he's a bit of a twat, but we put up with him, he's handy. He's coming over and in a couple of weeks time, and the likes of making manifolds and stuff is going to be quite time consuming. Don't want to be doing that whenever he's here. I would like to have that done before he gets here. So I'm going to try and butcher this thing and see what I can come up with. Now, I'm armed with a sheet of 3mm, some 2mm, and some offcuts of aluminium pipes of various different thicknesses and diameters. And I'm going to try and chop this down. Now, the chosen approach I think is going to be to, you can see this sort of joins into one runner here. I think I'm going to snip this off the whole way along here somewhere. So this is just manifold, flanges, and 3 up pipes. Cut a bit of flat aluminium plate and set it on top. Then I should be able to mark round those square holes on the bottom of the plate, drill those out, ream them out, and then weld them down in from the top of the holes. Then from there, weld up stands, set a bit of pipe in along the top of her, cut in half, job's done. Sounds simple, but we all know this is going to be far more complicated than it ever needs to be. I'm not an aluminium welder. I've said this many times when it was built in the X-Pack. I do not TIG weld often. This is going to be rough. It's going to be ready, but let's go. Right, manifold mocked up, cut off the right level, sits around there somewhere. This is just a 45 bend that I have lying about, but I think it's going to work. By the time I clean this all back and weld it along there and bend it into shape, make something up to fill that gap in there, and probably cut this off, I don't know, somewhere there maybe. Enough for a silicone 90 or whatever to go on to route it over to the intercooler. So yes, I think that's going to work. It hits quite low there, sits below anything that's going to hit. So I think I'll weld it up tomorrow and see what it looks like. Alright, so off camera I decided that the 2mm version wasn't going to hold up to it. So I went ahead and made a 3mm version, the same thing. Again, not the prettiest, but I also made the center bit a little bit wider this time because I made it the same as this tube, so now it fits down inside it nicely. So I can cut this tube to suit and weld it in up top to make it look half decent. So I think I'm going to start off here by setting this down onto the plenum, getting it tacked on to see if it's all going to fit, taking it over to the engine again, make sure everything's good, then finish up welding up all this, and then cut that pipe to suit, slot it in, weld around the outside. Making it sound easy here, it's not going to be easy. Right, so first time I've aluminium welded in what, 4 years or something. The end was not good, but nah, I brought it back. Now then, here goes absolutely nothing because I haven't TIG welded in about 3 or 4 years. I'm not even sure where to start, but nonetheless.
There's a train wreck waiting to happen.
going to win any awards for prettiness. That's the bit that's not welded. But it's stuck together. So I'm calling that a win. Right, so I've knocked up this wee bit in the lathe. All it is a 10 millimeters thick disc of aluminium with a 12.5mm hole in the middle. That's for the map sensor. So this will sit in here. I'm going to drill 2 holes, 2 mounting hole, bolt location things, and top them with whatever, probably M6. We're looking at that. That leaves that the actual sensor boss is through the back end of the plenum. Means I can drill a hole that thick or however. I've just thought of something. I'm going to have 3mm on top of that as well for the 3mm wall of the plenum. So might need to take another couple of mil off this. But yeah, I think once I skim this down, I'll drill these holes out here, the 2 mounting holes. I can drill that hole in the intake over there and then weld around this onto the back face of the plenum. That's the plan. Let's see if it works. So just taking that extra 3mm off this to bring it down to 7mm to make the 3mm plate on the back of the plenum, bring it up to the 10mm that I need. So yeah. Right, so that's the 2 holes drilled and now tapped to M6. So I've just clamped it in an M12 bolt there to fixture it in the vise so they don't wreck the outside edge. But I think that's good to go to be welded on whenever I get more art on. Right.
Welcome back to Rough Restos.
English twat has arrived, so it is time to get this engine out. I might have said in the last clip that I was going to take it out before he got here, but lazy prick didn't do it. Had other stuff to do.
I've just flown halfway across the world and he's not even bothered to take the engine out.
So, engine out, get everything stripped out that shouldn't be in there, and see if we can make enough room for PD130 to fit. Let's go. Right. At least there's no bonnet stay to worry about.
Yep, I guess it's got a full cooling system, is it?
Yeah, I need to empty
drain
that.
pan or?
There's a grill tub somewhere here.
Well, that's all gonna.
Yeah, there is no clamp on it.
Yeah.
That's class. I didn't loosen that.
Perfect. Friggin' animal. So you got a tack screw and then you got a Phillips head.
Yeah. You know why?
Because you're an animal?
Because the other screw hole for it, somebody rung a screw off in it before me.
Oh, very nice one.
They ground it off. So I decided I'm going to stick another one in.
I don't know what I'm taking. What am I taking it off for? Friggin' sorted. That's friggin' what I'm pissing around here for. Oh, you need to get smaller friggin' tack screws.
What?
You need to get shorter tack screws. You just use friggin' like 2-inch screws for everything.
Yeah. I did buy new ones since then that are shorter.
Roofing ones that you've used as well.
Oh yeah, that's because I had them from the shed.
Oh, friggin' speedo sensor.
I think you've just said bolts on the floor and everything too here. You're a tit.
What's keep organised?
Well, just put them right where we're walking. Like, there's a freaking dish there. You twist.
Yeah.
That. If it'll go. Yeah. There we go.
There we go.
Lovely. Was brand new, that Sportec.
Oh. Are you reusing it for the PD?
I'm going to reuse the back half of it, yeah, and try and join the front downpipe to it.
Yeah.
Right, so that is everything off underneath, everything with a pallet on wheels in underneath it now. We're taking out the last 2 Crossmember bolts and the last 2 Gearbox bolts. and hopefully then lift the shell off it, and that's the Pinto out. So now is where one of us dies.
Good riddance, boat anchor.
Yeah. Okay, so Pinto is out on a pallet over there somewhere.
Perfect.
This is very hot.
Nice.
PD, we're going to set it in the hole as it is and try and get it mounted. We'll have the flywheel and clutch sitting there. We have all the butcher race engineering bits for the actual clutch engagement, clutch fork, and the gearbox mount and the bearing and all's there. Jordan has worked out the reversed out wiring, so we know what we're doing with that. The turbo inlet and stuff, all that sorted now. We've went and got longer bolts. We've got spacers for the crossmember. We've been doing a fair bit since the last footage. But for now, we're going to offer this up into the hole. And I have already agriculturally modified, let's call it, the strengtheners on the gearbox tunnel. Using a hammer attachment for an air chisel. But they're now no longer an issue.
Nope.
So we'll get this offered up. We now have a prop shaft there as well that we're going to try and see. We need to, because it's already modified for an RX-8 gearbox, we need to sort of set the engine to the right sort of spacing for the prop to work as well. So we'll get it offered up in. We're going to try and strap it up from the top, chain it up across the inner wings somehow if we can, so we can go underneath the car and then work out what we need to do from there. So anyway, let's go. Time lapse again. Doing nothing as per usual. Anyway, ignore the big bit of timber. It's just called extra precautions, shall we? It's strapped in using the strut brace and a luggage strap that's definitely not capable of carrying the load, but nonetheless.
Needs a new engine mount. High tensile with bolts as well.
Permanently mounted.
Yeah.
Job done. Anyway, it's cocked over to one side using this strap and it's held in using this strap. And I have it ratchet strapped around a bit of steel inside the cabin to hold it in place in there.
Oh, we're out of level now.
What?
Level's out
We're
of
out of level, are we?
Yeah. Oh well.
Oh, so we are. We're not level any longer. Oh well.
That'll be fine.
We'll work that out later. But yeah, it needs to go that way, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
But anyway, we'll work that out in a minute. In fact, it could pull probably. Because it's just on the yeah. Right,
Yeah.
that's all adjustable. Let's leave
That's
that.
all we need to know though to get the mounts worked out.
So
Not proper.
bonnet closes obviously without the lump of flipping 4" by 4" timber in the way.
Are you sure?
Bonnet does close. And there's more clearance now than there was on the other car because I've cut the gearbox tunnel a lot more to let the gearbox up.
But
So-
we still have no idea what the underside's going to be like, do we?
No, this is what we're about to find out. We're about to put
We've already
this
had
thing-
more surprises than what you were expecting,
Yeah.
I guess.
We're about to put this thing up in the air now to see how the crossmember is going to bolt in. So bear with us.
Chris, your paint's a bit crap here. There's no clear coat on it.
Lovely. Right, let's put this thing up in the air and see what it looks like. Yeah, right.
So if this goes badly, it's not designed to fit.
Yeah, if this goes badly, we're going back to step one in this video series. Never started.
You started like a 5mm bit.
Yep.
You animal.
Why am I an animal? It's better than starting with a 10mm bit.
Well, you started like a 3mm bit. Making good chips though.
So that's these now drilled out to the right spacing for the crossmember holes.
You hope.
I hope. marked them off one, so hopefully it's the same. But yeah, let's get these all sort of deburred, because currently they're a knife edge on each corner. So Jordan's going to flap disc the life out of them here, get them sort of softened down a bit, and then we'll get them fitted. Right, so we have progressed slightly. Last bit of stuff you saw, I think, was me making these spacer blocks. They're now in and fitted. The Crossmember just touches the sump, and I mean millimeters. So whenever we're making the mounts, we're going to account for that and lift it by a mil or so. I think for mounting arrangements, that's the standard Audi mount in there. So I'm going to make something that comes up off the Crossmember and swoops out to meet that. On this side, I'm going to have to cut that standard mount sort of at an angle, and then I can literally get away with putting the standard Audi mount in there. If I cut this in the right place and re-weld it on, I'll just be able to set that directly onto the Crossmember. So mounting shouldn't be horrendous. At the back for the gearbox, I've got the Butcher Race Engineering bits and pieces on here, and they are lovely, I have to say. So they're going to be probably screwed up through the floor, a couple of bolts, and everything's all been lined up with the laser to meet up with the prop at the back. All right then, you join us the next morning, well rather the next afternoon. We've been on the road most of the morning gathering parts and working out what we need. Ordered a belt. You can see the marks on it were too long and too short. So we've ordered one of those. We're picking it up at the motor factors lunchtime. Engine is currently sitting in. You saw last night we got the Crossmember in with the spacers. So today's job is to get these mounts fabricated somehow, drill through the floor and get the rear gearbox done, get that done, and then we know it fits. Then drop it all out again and get the clutch and flywheel and all the good stuff in.
Maybe for time lapse. So I think this is the whole reason Chris invited me here. Was I've got to deal with this. Obviously, he gets to play stick together with bits of metal.
Yeah, and then one mount.
So, oh well, at least I kind of enjoy this stuff. But what do we need to do to it then? So
everything's all labelled kindly, at least for you.
Oh, you did label it?
I labelled everything.
Oh, that's good. I thought you hadn't labelled it. I was going to call you a prick.
I labelled everything.
Oh, deal. That's kind of handy. Okay, that's saved me a job, which is nice. I was kind of hoping you'd do that, but I haven't looked at it yet. So we're not going to need all of this, and we're not going to want it necessarily in the configuration it's currently in. So I think what I'm going to first do is start taking it apart, strip out a lot of the like the conduit and the bits and bobs, and we'll sort of work down to what we might need. And then I guess we're going to have to offer it up to the engine at some point and start working out how far we need to go. I guess you have the other part of the wiring for that.
It's there.
Oh, perfect. And the throttle pedal and all that?
Throttle pedal's up there, yep.
Perfect.
Don't have the plug off it yet, it's still in the car in the donor.
All I heard then was I've been lazy and not done all my prep work.
No, I didn't know if I needed to strip it out of the car fully with the wiring back to the ECU box, or whether I could just cut the wires and extend them to wherever we need them.
So, well, he took the lazy option, he wants me to extend them.
Yeah.
Right, well, I'm going to have some fun then, crack on, and I'm going to start tearing this apart, and you're going to start doing a bit of weldy cutting and see if we can get stuff done.
Get the engine mounted properly.
Oh, I do. Oh, we've got about 5 minutes before we're going to go out again, haven't we?
Yeah, we've been out about 4 times a day already, it's not good.
Right, let's crack on and actually try and make some progress. No update, we've achieved bugger all so far. Now, some of the looms there have been stripped out. This has been simplified. The N75 has been kept. Vacuum pipe's been simplified, so I've removed all the valves for the anti-shudder valve, the EGR, all that rubbish, the vacuum canisters. So now we're simply vacuuming for a check valve, which will come from the tandem pump straight down to the actuator and turbo. That's simplified it. Audi, in their finest wisdom, done this to protect the cabling. Now I was hoping it was like a loom that was just in through there and then they put this on over it. Nope, the loom was open when they cast it, and they cast all the cables straight into it. So you can see them all the way back here and that. Absolute nightmare. So I am not spending 10 hours removing that yet. We're moving on past that, and we're going to the important part. Now, we just had a few trips out to motor factors and whatnot to get parts for the car and all sorts. But what have we got here then? We have got that relay, which I believe is the ECU relay and potentially the lift pump. That one there apparently is our injector relay. Not found out what that one is yet. And we've been struggling. We've been trying to go through Google and find out, get wiring looms, which is really hard to get anything for anything that's longitudinal, and the Audi looms. Because these 4 connectors here house most of the wiring that we need to access. So this here has got things like the alternator exciter in it, the starter solenoid wire, we've got the throttle pedal cables in here, we've got our like CAN bus and K line that come back through this, brake switch, clutch switch, all that kind of such. So we really need to know what does what in here, because probably 50% of this we don't need, but the other 50% we really do need. And I need to know what happens, where. So we've been trying to get wiring diagrams for ages and have now come across some wiring diagrams, luckily through the ELSA stuff here, which we haven't proven to be correct yet, but we have at least seen that this appears to be mostly accurate, because it's got here our 4 connectors and the colours and pin numbers match. So I am praying that amongst this here is going to be all the pin outs I need somewhere along here to determine what does what, because it should be really simple. I just need to know what all these cables do. So I'm now going to spend a little time, give myself a headache, and I'm going to go through all this and try and actually piece together what we actually need out of this lot. But firstly, I might be smart and go and cut the other ends of these out of a donor car so that I have something to tape to and label up, because I plan on keeping all these connectors in place if we need them, so that Kris can remove the whole loom from the car very easily, kind of like I've done with my Capri, slightly different but very similar. Useless prick strikes again. Not that one, this one apparently. Wiring is well, not done, it's sussed. Many hours ago for wiring diagrams.
It only took me to put a post in Mechanics Boss jobs to get the actual wiring diagrams.
But we spent hours searching Google at the time on the phones and just couldn't get any of this information. And we obviously needed it specific to that car. So it was a case of having to go through and work out, find the number on the connector, correspond, all the colours and the pin numbers are corresponding, which has been great, having the right diagram. But then you have to cross-reference like that with, so that goes and feeds a G81, so then you have to work out what G81 is here, go around, find the next part on the diagram, see if it's any use, and then go back and forth and get your information that way from what control module it is. So it took a little while to find it all out.
In the meantime, I've been dicking about on the lathe.
Oh, yeah, he's friggin' got a bit of bar and he's put a hole in it with a thread on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've done that and I've done all this.
No, I've also made the other mounts.
But are they welded in the car?
No. Will be by tonight.
Either way, we got some tools to go get and then food.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ideal. This might be the first ever Capri that needs wiring to the engine mount. We might just ignore that part. Progress has been made. Now, don't judge this. This is not the Jordan from Rough Restos. This is the Jordan from Chris Dupre's garage.
I agree, Jordan.
Yeah, I agree. Basically, there's a saying about, using the so-and-so, so-and-so, and the so-and-so I've been dealt is a box of used wiring looms that date back from 20 to 40 years, a tiny bit of Halfords cable on a spool, and then the rest of it we're cobbling together. So, what we've had to come to, with what time we have and what materials we have, is a little fuse box here. We got our multi-plugs that plug into our loom. So this is the engine side, fairly simple. That's going to come through, and we've got, they're going to have to mount somewhere at some point, but we've actually got our ECU, we've got our relays, and our power for our injectors and our glow plugs. We've got our body and fuse box looms. So that all goes through the firewall, plugs in. That'll plug in here for these 4 connectors. We've got an OBD port to plug in for our diagnostics and data. Got a ground. We've got a little relay just cable tied on F&L, which is doing our ignition live. Power comes into here. We've got a cable going out for our fuel pump. And then all these ones here are for future use. So they're like our fan switches, clutch switches, sensors, things we don't need at the minute, but Kris might be using in the future. And then this loom will go through to the driver's side, where we've got our throttle pedal, we've got our ignition live to fire that relay, we've got our alternator exciter, and our starter solenoid. So fairly simple. This is now just a little standalone loom that we can use to run the PD and the Capri. Well, I say that, we hope we can use, because we haven't followed any kind of guide. It's just been entirely done based on that wiring diagram, what's here. And I think we've got the right cables and what we need, but I guess we'll find out, won't we? Obviously this could be done much neater, but it's going to require time mounting up properly, soldering all the cables, having all the right size stuff, and that's not something we've got an option of today.
Are all I'm hearing. I'm just saying.
Well, if you look at his wiring selection, it kind of makes me sad inside. But at least he's got some other tools to make up for that. But the biggest tool is right there, about to weld.
So, engine mounts. This side I have cut a bit of C-channel to sit on the mount up in there. I've also cut a bit of rectangular box section, and whenever I get all the remnants trimmed off the crossmember here, that will slide in. And that'll slide in sort of like that, only obviously in the middle of the crossmember where it can actually slide into. This side's a wee bit different in that I have lopped this off. So this is the existing mount, the factory mount. This used to sit on here like this. Because it's sitting straight up and down, it's not really any use to me, so I've cut it off like this. I'm going to bore out a hole in the middle of this here because it's hollow in behind. You can see my finger up through it. So I'm gonna drill this out or something, make a hole for it, an aluminium. I then have in the lathe a little piece of aluminium stock, which I'm going to drill and tap a hole for that will accept the M8 thread on the standard Audi mount. So the plan is I will thread this mount up into this boss, drill the hole in the cross member, set this or screw it up into the engine mount on the engine, and then I'll be able to just set it down into a slotted hole in the cross member. Well, that's the plan. So I'm going to drill a hole in this at about 8. Well, I need to tap it to M8, then part it off at the right length. I can then butcher the mount, hammer it up in, TIG weld out round it to make sure it's secure, and hopefully job done. Okay, that's that made hopefully. So, doesn't look like much, but it's a wee boss, threaded boss there that I'll be able to hammer up into the mount weld it around it, and it should hopefully then let the mount screw into it. You know what? That's tacked in. Whenever the engine's off the stand, I'll finish welding that. Okay, so that was very, very badly tack welded in there, but we'll ignore that for now, shall we? It's currently just sitting in there, no more, on the slot that I created for it. So I need to, it's actually adjustable the way it is at the minute. I can screw it up and down in that, raise the height or lower the height, whatever I need to do. But you can see the slot I've made in the Crossmember for it. Stevie Wonder cut that with a dessert spoon. Rack is now in with new, cheapest Chinese Flowflex bushes. And this over here will be the mount. It's not welded yet, it's just currently sitting there. Needs straightened up and stuff. But that hopefully will be beefy enough to hold the little PD. So I'm gonna get this all tacked into place here with MIG. Onto the Crossmember, onto here, take it off up there and drop the whole lot out. Weld it up properly. And over here... What? Is that the doing it? No. Good luck. Stick to your wiring, Sparkle Boy. Over here, I need to possibly space it up a little bit, because whenever this is up tight, like so, there is a bit of a gap underneath. So obviously it can bend, but I think I might need to put a spacer in underneath that, just to try and give me a wee bit more lift, so we're clearing in there. We're nearly there, like so close. So if I can account, I'm going to loosen the Crossmember down a little bit, space this up, loosen this down, and then weld this in place, so that whenever I set this down, it's accounting for the sag in the mount. But it makes sense to me. Okay, so it has been a little while, but we now have an engine sitting fully supported on its own mounts in the engine bay. It's just clearing the sump by, a feeler gauge width, and it's clearing the bonnet. It doesn't hit. So it's in, happy days. Mount is a little agricultural, to say the least, but it works. I need to tidy it all up once the Crossmember's out again, paint it and stuff. Over here, was able to do it a wee bit tidier actually. Used the standard mount up in there. And welded a boss into it, as you saw, and then I just drilled a hole in the Crossmember, slotted a hole so that it can slide up and down like a standard Pinto one. But nonetheless, it's in. We've marked the holes in the shell for the gearbox tunnel, gearbox mount. Need to drop the seats out of the car now, take the carpet up out and put nuts and bolts through that too. But for tonight, that's going to do us. It's half 11. And yeah, we'll get back out in the morning fresh, get this engine dropped straight out of it, and then get... You have all the wiring completely done at this stage. Well, not completely, but 90% done. Yep. So all the wiring's worked out, sussed, done. We just need to tie it into the bits in the shell. Take powers and grounds and stuff. So that's all done. With the fuel side done, basically, we just need a loop from the fuel pump, which is mounted.
Yep. Two lines down there need to go up.
Down in there.
Lines. Yep.
So they need to go up one of those into the filter with a new filter for it. Yeah, we're getting there. Finally feels like a little bit of progress. So I'm gonna call it a night, and we'll get back out in the morning and see you again then. Bye. Alright, so it's the next morning. Been out here for a little bit. It's currently 8:25. We've been out here for about an hour now. We've worked out the sort of intercooler-y stuff. We're gonna mount, there's two holes on the top of this intercooler. So we're going to mount them through the slam panel here, hang it, then build bracketry to stick out off this to weld to at the bottom. This is going to line up quite nicely then. It'll shoot over there into another then 90, 2 couplers, or 1 coupler into the 90. Same on this side, it should come out with a 90 out of the turbo. I'm going to weld it onto this adapter that I bought. So this slots up into the turbo. Then I'm going to weld my 2.5 straight to that because this is 2-inch and I don't have a reducer. So 90 under there, shoot it down towards this. 2 holes required to be plasma cut in the shell down there. So we'll get them cut and hopefully then boost piping is sorted. In that piping will work also. I have an inlet that I used to run on my red car with the Cosworth in it, the one that started the channel was crashed. Jordan's laughing. But I'm gonna run it out of the turbo. I need to make an aluminium reducer for the turbo housing. But the mass airflow sensor is 3-inch. So this works really well. This will slot into the end of that pipe. Filter is also 3-inch. Thank you to Ram Air for sorting me out with a filter. They very kindly sent me a Ram Air filter and a couple, you can't see it right now, but there's a banner over there. Sent me a couple of banners for the workshop a while ago, so finally getting around to using them. Yeah, let's get this engine drop back out of here for the last time today, hopefully. Get her onto the stand, get her all dressed up with the wiring, the plumbing, bits and pieces. Clutch all back together. I'm going to stick into in here, plasma cut the holes. I need to modify the crossmember for the radiator to sit in because it's a 2.8 radiator I'm using. Never mocked up coolant hoses yet, actually. But
that's plug and play, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Adjust that in there.
Yeah, that's okay. Work that out later. I'm going to cut that mount off as well because that mount used to be there for the power steering pump and stuff, and air conditioning compressor. So let's stop talking down and actually do some work.
So I've been tasked with this part now. So we've got the RX-8 5-speed box here. We've got the conversion kit here from Butcher Engineering, or Butcher Race Engineering, is it? Or anyway,
Butcher Race Engineering, yeah.
From Lee Butcher, great guy. So he gave me supplied me the parts for when I'd done my conversion years ago on the twin turbo Cosworth. So what do we have to do? Well, in the bell housing here, we need to remove obviously the old fork, the old release bearing, the old pivot point, and then we need to cut a hole in the side of a bell housing here to put the new clutch fork through in the same position as the Ford one would be. And then we need to bolt in our new pivot point, chuck in a release bearing, a fork, and away we go. So, what's the worst that can happen, eh?
Roll up my window, don't know where I'm bound. Driving by the river, there's a hole in the ground. Hand-me-down t-shirt, sticking on my back.
Get her up out. Well done. Now I have a new window in the bell housing. Let's hope it's in the right place. So whenever the sump doesn't fit because it's hitting the pickup, what do? You take the top off the pickup and you hit the gauze with a hammer. Right, so sump was having clearance issues, as you might have saw in the last bit. It's now fixed professionally. It's now like a flying saucer. But nonetheless, it doesn't hit any longer, and it has about 5 or 6 mil of clearance now in between the gauze, the top of the gauze, the highest point, and the sump. So yeah, there's the grease from the test fitting to see what was hitting. But that's all done now, so we're going to seal this sump up properly, put it on, let the seal dry while we rewire, put all the stuff onto the engine, go from there. Utter devastation is happening. Right, update. Intercooler is in. Radiator's in. We're not going to talk about how I mounted the radiator. Tech screws. Fan is now on as well. You can see the fan fitting kit there. it has been clearanced for the intercooler pipes, let's just call it, with the plasma cutter. I need to clearance the tunnel a little bit more with the air hammer just in the very center there, because there's a couple of there's a rib on top of the gearbox it's hitting. Whenever this is all bolted back up, I'm going to tack weld these nuts into place, so I need to just clean this chassis rail up to make something I can actually weld to. Yeah, we're getting on fairly well now. Like this is solid now, I have to say. What else is there in there I've done? Not much on the shell. Engine wise, something all's on with the ghetto sump pickup clearancing that we did. Oh, inlet. I don't know where I've set the inlet up, but I'm tidying. That's my next job, is to tidy, because we can't find anything, we can't do anything. Inlet's up there, is it? You see it? I don't know where the inlet is. I have no idea anymore. Found it. Map sensor has been fitted to the back of the plenum, which hopefully will just slot in here and not hit anything. Lovely. Oh, that plug might be tight. Where is the plug for that?
Oh, that one is extended actually. Is there? Where's that air?
Will it fit? No.
Well, it would do if we unbolted the map sensor and bolted it off.
Yeah, just do that.
We'll just do that for now. Yeah, we're fine, yeah.
Yeah, we're on. Lovely.
Just can't unplug it.
Now, there is actually air between that. We're all good. So that's on. We've shortened this earlier. I need to put a bead on that with a bead roller to stick a bead on the end of that. Vacuum wise, Jordan has all that sussed as well for the turbo to the N75 valve. Yep. New fan belt is on with the power steering delete and our air conditioning delete. Yep. That is a 6PK 1098 if you ever need one. If you ever fit in a 1.9 into a Capri. So, radiators in, fans in, all that stuff, you saw it earlier. Hole is now bored in the car for the wire to pass through. Nice gates. Fuel hose grommet we're using there for the pass through, so to stop the cables rubbing on the metal. But we're getting there now. I'm going to take this engine off the stand here shortly and try and get the gearbox and stuff on. Jordan's just finishing up a few bits of wiring, running inside the cabin to try and do that stuff. I'm going to torque the sump down, do a few bits and pieces then, get the gearbox on. So, time to see if this thing turns over. I've got this thing set up on the jump pack. Flywheel's on, torque down, starter's in. This is the second starter I've had because the first one I don't think was the right one. But let's see if it goes. I'll stand back.
Yes! Yes.
Yes!
So what, stick some GT85 in the intake now, it runs, call it a day.
Not on the stand. Hanging on a chain.
Why not? That's how I find my Cosmo Pop when
I did see a video of somebody sitting on top of one time revving it.
Yes. Right,
That's that done.
we'll crack on then I guess and start.
Oh, that's a relief.
Finish clutch, mount gearbox and see actually if we're going to have a clutch at all.
Yep. Right then. Engine's in the hole for the last time, we hope.
Fine, yeah.
It's all fully mounted up on its own mount. Gearbox mount is in and bolted up. All the intercooler front end's all done. Fuel, we just need to connect 2 Juby clips down in there. That's all done. Wiring, we've drilled the hole. It's in the car. All the wiring's in the car now. Ready to connect up to the car side of things. We're just about to go underneath and adapt the starter wiring. Fit the battery cable and the link cable between the alternator and the starter. Check to see if the prop shaft of the car the standard prop shaft fits, because it's actually longer. It's about 70 or 80 mil longer than the RX-8 one. The only difference is that the yoke, the slip joint is a wee bit smaller, so it doesn't meet the oil seal. So either get a different oil seal or which actually could be easier, Jordan. Get a fatter oil seal if there is one.
No, because it's the shaft is a sitting bearing, just a bearing and oil seal.
Okay, right, well, not an option. Might have to make a sleeve to go over the Ford prop if that is possible. Anyway, there's all the wiring fed through into the car. That's not its final resting place. But, right, let's go up underneath, see what fits, what doesn't fit. So, engine is in. You've already said that about 15 times now, I'm fully aware. Clutch cable, I've made up a mount using some of the bonnet ram tabs that I have. Welded 3 together with a TIG. Drilled a 10mm hole in them, welded them onto the adapter plate. So, we now have a working clutch. We've tested the clutch, it does work. Prop shaft. Standard Capri prop shaft. Apart from the fact that that OD of the Capri spline is actually a couple of mil, not much in it. Maybe 4 or 5 mil overall. Too small for the oil seal, which I think I'm going to solve by making a sleeve for it. But for tonight's purposes of seeing if it drives, that's fine. Everything else is on. Fuel is done. We're just about to finish off the wiring, put some diesel in it, see if it starts. So, it's been a long time coming. We are both absolutely knackered. It's about the 3rd night in a row now. We've been out here past 11. So, yeah. Let's keep going. This feels very wrong. This is white diesel. To clarify that, because it's not red diesel. Watch me spill absolutely everywhere. Yep, there we go. Everywhere. Jordan, hold the phone, will you? Hold it over there. Yep.
It's slippery here.
It's very slippery now, yeah. Oh, you're useless. Also.
Oh, Chris, are you sure that's the right fuel?
Feels very wrong. With a diesel in a Capri. All right then. It is time. It's time to see if this thing's going to run. Pray for us. Right? Away you go. Right, where you go? Yep. Nope, didn't like that.
That could be painful, not being able to capture the bolt.
Is it?
Just that one, but I don't know.
Don't know. We'll have a look, but. Oh. Guess who had the fuel lines on the wrong way and it drained the filter? Jordan. That's right, Jordan. So my GT85 down his throat, and this is it starting. Second time after the first start. Yep. So, time to see if the thing starts and drives. Yep.
Yep. There we go.
Oh, I don't want to turn it off.
Pull the switch cable. Oh, beautiful. You can tell you I'm going to anti-shutter valve on it. because the laptop on the
Yeah.
roof rocks, won't it? Spot on.
Alright then, this is future Kris, about 4 or 5 weeks after the last footage was filmed. Always the way, but there's a lot more has been done since the last clip of the first start. A lot more machining, getting things finished off, plumbed up, wired in, and yeah, it's basically ready now to go on the road, apart from mounting the throttle pedal and wiring up the fan. But I'll leave all that to the next episode. For now, I have done my backing. So I've been out of action for the last week or two. Plus it's been Christmas and it's about to be New Year's, so it can wait for a week or two till I'm sort of back on my feet properly again. At the minute, if I was to bend over the engine bay, I'll be on the floor. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I just wanted to jump into the end of this video to say thank you for watching in the last year. I know it's been a bit sporadic at times, most of the time, the footage this year, but started back into it and starting to enjoy it again. Hope you've enjoyed the journey of taking this thing from off the road to on the road over the summer months, enjoying it, and now upgrading it to PD130. The plan is to finish off the wee bits and pieces, take it out for a good long road test rather, not road trip at this stage. Bring these along with me in the next video, show you it running and driving properly. For now, the most I've driven it is on and off the lift to get stuff in and out of the shed. So it does run, it does drive, but that was with the throttle pedal on the passenger seat, just holding it. Anyway, I've waffled enough. If you've lasted this long throughout this video, you're a legend, thank you. Do me a favour, do drop a comment, set a like on it, tell your friends, do something, interact with the video in any way, because it does really help put it into people's YouTube algorithm, into their recommended page, homepage, whatever you want to call it. Even just a comment from every one of you that watch this, it's usually a couple of thousand of you, would help me massively. So if you want to do that, thank you. Happy New Year for the next couple of days, whenever this video goes up, or it might have been a couple of days ago. But happy Christmas, that's definitely over with. So I'll see you in the next one, where, as I said, should be more exciting things to come. Bye.